Hello yogi friends and welcome back. Today I have a short practice for you, a few exercises really, to relax the pelvic floor because this is sometimes such an elusive subject. So we'll start on a bolster today, and if you don't have a bolster you can use a pillow or something like a couch cushion, something like that. And for the practice today, I will also use a block and a strap. But again, if you don't have a strap, you can grab a belt or even a towel. And if you don't have a block, you can have a couple of books stacked together, something to support you. And we'll start reclined on the back. The bolster is there for your head, really. So it can be a pillow, again, or like a cushion from your couch. And the point here is to find connection of your lower ribs to the floor. So I don't want an imprinted position like in Pilates, more like a relaxed position for your lower back, but where your lower ribs are heavy and you feel their connection to the floor. So that's why having something underneath the head can be helpful. And then with the strap, you're going to bring it over your lower ribs, and we'll start with a bit of breathing because remember, our breath and pelvic floor are connected. And Simone here will accompany us today. So if you don't have a strap, again, a belt can be, a towel useful, or even just having your hands on your lower ribs if you don't have anything at hand. So with a strap over the ribs, if you're using it, as you inhale, feel how your lower ribs expand, how your whole rib cage expands, really 360 degrees, side to side, front to back. And then as you exhale, feel how it falls away from the strap. We'll continue breathing like that, and I will guide you through a little bit of that visualization practice for your pelvic floor. So inhale for now, feel that rib expansion, feel that strap opening, and exhale through your mouth, through slightly pursed lips, and feel how the ribs fall away from the strap. And again, try to find the rib expansion before you expand into your abdomen on the inhale. And then as you exhale, kind of the opposite happens. The abdomen moves in first, and then the ribs fall. Try not to strive too much. So if you start feeling tension in your neck or your upper shoulders, then maybe you're trying too hard. The point of the practice is to relax, right? So we're going to do this breath a few more rounds. And each time you inhale, imagine that your diaphragm drops and your pelvic floor lengthens, dropping down as well. And then each time you exhale, you imagine how that hammock or that sling lifts and rebounces back. So there's no need to do Kegels, there's no need to force anything. If you're not feeling anything, again, it's fine. Just visualize those things, that synchronicity happening in your pelvic floor area as you inhale, pelvic floor lengthening. As you exhale, lifting, coming back, rebouncing, whatever imagery works for you. Visualize your diaphragm dropping and rebouncing. You can pause the video and do as many cycles of this as you like, especially if that feels nice, if that feels like supportive right now. Otherwise, we'll move on into the next one. And for this one, you don't really need anything. We're just going to do a simple windshield wiper from the back. So you're going to be on your back, arms open to side, and you're going to drop the knees to the right, and then you're going to drop the knees to the left. going side to side like that. You don't have to bring the knees all the way to the floor. Just observe what happens in your hips and in your lower back as you move through this slowly. And if there is a spot where you want to hang out and stay, you can also do that if that feels good. Otherwise, you're just going to do it a few more rounds. And then either stay on the back, or you can sit up and do the same from seated. So this is where the exercise is kind of the same, but sensations might be somewhat different. So moving side to side slowly and with intention. Hip internal rotation, this is what my right leg is doing here on this side right now, is very beneficial for your pelvic floor as well. So some parts of our pelvic floor relax when you do external rotation, and some of them relax when you do internal rotation. So that's why both of this is vital to find sensation into your pelvic floor area and to relax those muscles. So you can stay here, or you can come into low squat next, Malasana, yogi squat. This one can be done either with blocks or without blocks if you're comfortable. There might be a need for the block for a number of reasons: ankle restrictions, knees restrictions, hip restrictions. So find your support. It can be high as well if you want to, maybe even stacking 2 blocks if you have to. But what you don't want to feel is any tension when you sit here, because the goal of this one is, again, just to relax. So you can bring the knees out wide with your elbows pressing into the inner thighs if that's comfortable. And come back to that 360 diaphragmatic breathing. So as you inhale, expand the rib cage. Visualize diaphragm dropping, belly relaxing, pelvic floor lengthening. And as you exhale, visualize those hammocks, those slings lifting and rebounding. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to recoil. Now, in this position, if you visualize pelvic floor as a diamond shape, and when we do external hip rotation, the front of that diamond gets lengthened, but the back stays quite short. So the next exercise we'll do will lengthen the back instead. We'll come into the internal hip rotation, and for that you can use a block again, or you can use a bolster to sit on. And this one is kneeling. Feet are outside of your hips, and you're sitting between your heels. So you're not sitting on the heels, you're sitting between your heels. And that's why it's nice to have a bit of support underneath your pelvis, like a bolster or a block, because there again might be a lot of discomfort in this pose if we're not used to seated kneeling. So find something that feels supportive for you, and notice how your hips and how your pelvic floor feels in this shape. If you like, you can inhale and lift the arms up, maybe even interlace the fingers, press the palms up, reach, and as you exhale, drop everything and relax. With each inhale, visualize again diaphragm dropping down, pelvic floor lengthening. And with each exhale, visualize how diaphragm returns into its doming shape and how pelvic floor recoils. One more here. Exhale and release. And just stay a few more breaths. And then for the next one, we're going to come into a tabletop and do a few cat-cows and exercises that are somewhat similar to cat-cows but different. So come into tabletop, and starting with cat-cows, something more familiar. Inhale, drop the belly, pull the chest forward, lift the gaze, and as you exhale, curl the tailbone under, round your spine, tuck the chin in, stretch the space between your shoulder blades. And keep going like this. You can also open the feet a little bit wider, like a mermaid tail, if you like, so that the legs are in this internal hip rotation again, and we're lengthening the back of the pelvic floor. This is where a lot of us are actually pretty tight, so I like those internal hip rotation positions because I feel like it does help to lengthen my pelvic floor in the back. You can even visualize how the sitting bones, those two bones where you literally sit on, they separate from each other, they glide away from each other as you come into this arched position, and the space between them lengthens, and then how they draw closer together when you tuck the chin to chest and tuck your tailbone under. Again, tailbone lifting, sitting bones spreading away from each other, lengthening that space in the back of your pelvic floor, and then rounding and pulling everything closer together again. Alternate between these two. Feel the length and feel also the recoil. And then you can also add a little bit of wave forward as you inhale, arching your back, and then rounding and sending your hips back as you exhale. And keep going like this. Inhale to exhale. And really allow your pelvis to move. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just find the sensation in your pelvic floor area. Find a bit of mobility of your pelvis. Feel how it glides on top of your femur bones, your thigh bones. And really focus on sensation in your hips. And then when you had enough, come back to center, grab your bolster. We're going to come into child's pose with a bolster pointed towards your abdomen. And you drape your body over your bolster as you lie down here. So the knees can stay as wide as is comfortable for you. And the point of the bolster here is just to give your chest, especially the back body, so your back ribs, the capacity to expand a bit more, and the ability for you to feel a bit more into that area with abdomen over the bolster like this, so that you are not sending too much breath into the abdomen, but instead sending your breath into your back body, into your back ribs, your side ribs. So inhale here, send the breath out, and exhale, feel the lift. Feel the recoil. Or if you don't feel it, visualize it again. Inhale. Focus on your back ribs and your side ribs. Bring your attention there. And as you exhale, relax the effort, but tone your abdomen. Continue breathing like this. Each inhalation, feel how your pelvic floor relaxes. Each exhalation, feel how it recoils. And send the breath down. Visualize those hammocks dancing together, lengthening together, and recoiling together. One more round. And then come back up when you're ready. For this last exercise, I want you to be on your back. You don't need any props. This is going to be a diaphragm stretch, similar to ab vacuum or hypopressives, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't worry. We'll do it together. So you're going to interlace your fingers and bring them to your abdomen. So you're going to exhale all the air out. Then you're going to reach the arms up and over the head and do the shape of the inhalation with your rib cage without actually drawing any air in. And then as you feel ready to inhale again, before you have to gasp for air, you're going to bring the arms back down to the abdomen and inhale calmly into your rib cage. And we'll do it a few times. So I'm talking you through it because when I'm demonstrating, I won't be able to talk because you are talking on the exhalation. And if I have to do it on empty, there will be no air to work with. That's why you'll see what I mean. So again, exhaling all air out first, reaching the arms back up, opening the rib cage as if you're inhaling, but don't. And then when you absolutely have to inhale, you bring the arms back and inhale. So let's try. Let's take a full cycle of breath before we move on. Exhale all the air out and begin. So you want to feel how that abdomen hollows out, and this might feel as very strong, but might help you to find proprioception, that sensation into your pelvic area, lifting and then relaxing as you inhale. Let's try a few more times. Deep breath in. Exhale all the air out. Let's do one more. Hope you enjoyed the practice today. If you have any questions, if something didn't feel very clear, please drop a comment below and I'll be happy to reply and to get in touch with you. And see you again next time. Bye.